okay? This is simulating an arm, believe it or not. Now, that's pretty deep, and this hose is simulating the artery. You can see in there, we've got a hole in it, right? Okay, and you can also see there's like a dowel rod right beside it. That's simulating your bone. Artery runs right beside your bone. That's why it works when you press on it, because you have that hard surface of the bone behind it. So if we had our injured party here, and I can even step that up a little bit, we can take our gauze here, guys, and we're gonna pack it into the wound. Now, as your hands get colder, or as you're wearing gloves, all of this gets harder, especially if you've got like mechanics gloves on. That's gonna fill most of this hole just with my finger, right? So we don't wanna wear gloves other than nitrile gloves if we don't have to. So we got our bleed here. We're gonna take our gauze, bring it out some, bring 2 fingers and make a knot. That knot is gonna help you drive into the wound. Drive as deep as you can go. And we're trying to actually find that artery and pin it down. Please notice that it stopped bleeding because I'm pressing on it, okay? Once we start this whole deal, don't take your finger out if you can help it. We're gonna try to push and replace. That's gonna look something like this. Push this finger in. This one's gonna come right beside it and press down so that I don't ever really lose pressure. And we're gonna try to fill the entire wound with this gauze. And as you go, we're gonna slowly feed more in. Think about it like this, guys. If you tried to put an entire towel in a 2-liter bottle, it wouldn't really work, right? If you were to cut it in strips and feed it a little bit at a time, you might get it to work. So the same idea. Fill the entire wound with gauze. Also, try not to set the gauze on the ground. We're not really worried about infection. That's not our job. Our job is gonna be to help them stop bleeding. Infection is what the hospital will figure out. However, if I can do something to try to help with that, I want to. Same thing with wearing gloves. We'll practice that more later, wearing nitrile gloves. For right now, we're just gonna get used to, well, I didn't have gloves, or they tore. And notice my knee didn't let up pressure. It should still be bleeding. That's pretty cool. And it takes a lot of gauze, guys. And fill the entire wound. Doesn't really matter what finger you use. I like my thumb. Now, when you get to the end and you feel like, all right, I filled all of that. Any gauze you have left, make a pile right on top. Now, you could take your hand and drive it down on there. Yeah, that's good, but it takes my hands. I could take my elbow, drive that down there, but that put my face a lot closer to the bleeding. I don't like that. And I'm still having to use most of my body. What I'd rather do is take something like my knee and drive it on there. I can put a lot more body weight and I get my hands back. That's a big advantage. And then if I can, I'd really like to take something like a trauma bandage. That could be a lot of things. An ACE bandage like this, or something I'll show you more of later that's like a professional grade trauma bandage. It's a lot fancier, but it's also more expensive. These are a couple dollars. You could also use, if you have nothing else, something like pantyhose, women's leggings. They stretch, so you need something that stretches as an alternative. Take our bandage, try to keep pressure as long as possible. Eventually though, you're gonna have to replace your leg with that bandage. Lay it straight over top if you can, and bring it around. Now the first wrap, I like to just wrap around normally, try to give it some friction. The next wrap though, bring it out and try to twist right over top of the wound. In fact, I missed it a little bit on that one. Pull and twist right over top. Why would we do that? What do you think?
Puts more direct pressure.
It does. It puts more direct pressure. Same thing on the next one usually. Pull, twist right over top. Everybody sees that I'm getting grass and little spegs of dirt in there, right? Mm-hmm. That's reality, man. It's not clean. After that, I'll just keep on coming around. Try not to lose your grip on it. After you get it all the way around. There we go. Most of these bandages are gonna have some sort of closure on the end. They're gonna have like Velcro or these clips, something like that. However, look how thin that Velcro is. If I got it all kinds of dirty or covered in something gross, you think that's gonna stick real well? No. I wouldn't wanna trust that. If I had to move him much, it's gonna come right off. So if it doesn't have a closure, or if it's so dirty it ain't gonna stick, don't worry about it. You're gonna pull part of the bandage, with my fingers will work because it's cold. Get one of the outer layers of bandage and tuck it underneath. So hold your fingers under, Bring that bandage under. And if possible, do that a second time.